All right, great to see you guys. Yeah, thanks again, Tolemykus, for the quote. Woman's worth is not determined by the number of men she conquers, but by the strength of her character, Mata Hari. And for me, it's kind of like an apt quote due to the fact that, yeah, I had a really good talk yesterday with my boss. And, well, she's a woman. And, yeah, she's just such a strong character, and it was a really good discussion. I've had one hell of an intense month. I'm just going to say this, Harro, Bosma, great to see you. I know that you're only listening in. Nice to see you as well, Charles Satora. Oh, great to see you, Meandering, Mike. And I'm so bloody sorry, man. I wanted to watch your show last night, but I was just burnt. I had an intense day. Well, as you know, I've had an intense month. You know a bit more of the details. It was, the irony is that Harro Bosma sent me an email wishing me a happy year for my birthday, which was on the 30th of October, and he's like, hopefully this will be your best year ever. And boy, did that month start off, or the year start off rough, but it's been going better. Thanks, Meandering Mike. Yeah, it's been going rather well, but my God, am I ever emotionally spent? It's been, but it's like I said, it feels like it's going on the upswing. But anyways, here I'm going to present the screen. Hopefully things are going to start going a bit better. Brian R. Smith, great to see you. I'm going to hide Tolemykus's thing. Hopefully you're doing well. Oh yeah, I'm going to pop your thing in because you've got a nice little comment there. Wishing all our American friends a great Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah, that's one thing we just certainly don't understand. For me, I don't understand is how important Thanksgiving seems to be for Americans. But anyways, here we go. There's going to be, I think, a heck of a lot of reading for me today. William Aaron sent in some good articles. And there's also some headlines this week that was in the Globe that I wanted to at least address very quickly. And don't forget that we're going up to episode or live stream 100 pretty soon. And I was wanting to do something. I've been thinking about wanting to do submarines, like a big long episode or whatever on submarines for quite some time. So I was thinking, oh, maybe we'll do, I don't know, the submarine special will be for live stream 100. So if you have anything that like pictures of submarines or anything that you want to talk about that way, please let me know and pop them in, because I'm really enjoying the fact that a lot more people are contributing to, you know, like for example, Brian R. Smith popping in some stuff and whatnot. Matter of fact, you're up right off the bat here for the live stream fact checker and interesting tidbits. Thank you, Brian R. Smith. The reason why I put in thank you, Brian R. Smith, is due to the fact that you keep asking when we're doing the video, those little video clips and whatnot. You're like, in what context? Is this in Macedonia? Like, where is this? Is that in the Balkans? And so on and so forth. I didn't clue in when I was looking at the descriptions that there's actually, hey, Harro Bosma, I wasn't expecting to see you. And you're going to see why in a minute, Harro Bosma, why I'm also wanted to talk to you. Like I was saying, you're going to be mentioned a fair amount in this live stream. Anyways, Brian R. Smith, it's that I never noticed there was a little more button for these video things. And it has like a huge description for the videos. And I was like, okay, I wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't gone back to take a look at some of the stuff when you were asking. So I'm like, thank you very much, because now I can go forward that way and we can start popping it in. Update on which World War I related games people have been playing. That would be great to hear about. Also, the discussion question for the stream, like I said this week, is was the naval block? Oh, William, man, it's great to see you, man. And thank you very much for sending off the ATA early enough for me to get it, you know, formatted properly in a Word document and so on and so forth. Hope you're doing great, man. Anyways, was the naval blockade by Great Britain illegal? Do you guys believe it was illegal or not? I'm just throwing that out there. I know my opinion, but I've also now been corrected in a certain form. But if you want to talk about that, I'd love to. Last battle, and I don't know what we're going to do yet for round 4 because we're starting over again. But I'm still doing I'm still keeping the bingo cards going, so somebody could just get bingo right off the bat and get 6 points, kind of thing. So as you mentioned last time we had it was 1918, the Battle of Tardenois, the Second Battle of the Marne, Rock of the Marne, all that stuff. And I think, my God, William Aarons, weren't you mentioning that your grandfather or whatever? Yes, I'm over COVID, and so is my wife. There you go. great to find out about that. Weren't you saying that your grandfather or something like that was involved with, was part of the Rock of the Marne, like that his division was part of that or something like? I'm pretty darn sure you had seen that, said that. So, anyways, here we go. Cherami's brought in another battle thingamajig. I'm going to pop it up in a minute here on the screen is for the banners, but it's 1916. It's got something to do with the Senussi. Hold on here. Let's see if I can find it here. There we go. It's number 35, 1916, the Battle of Agigia or something like that. But there it is. And we're going to go down here a bit more so you can see here. And that's it. There, popped it in. And you're going to see that some people already have points. It's like, what the hell? Well, you can see here, Harro Bosma, if you're still listening, is that you got stars there. You have one here. Hold on here. I'm popping in Brian R. Smith says legalities ultimately come down to who's winning. There you go. So yes, you're right. Here we go. So anyways, I think Meandering Mike won again. Decided no, I'm okay. I'll pass it on to the next person. Who second place was Tolemykus, and Tolemykus said the same thing. Brian R. Smith was third place and said no, I'll pass it on there. I was like, what the hell? It's not like I'm trying to give somebody COVID or something as a gift. Anyway, so you're number 4, Harro Bosma. So if you want to take the gift, you've got a choice of the First World War. It's an audible book that was gifted by Hissy Cat, or you can have a year electronic subscription to War Diary. I think it's just the War Diary. I do believe it's called. Meandering Mike will correct me for bloody sure. That's for sure. Okay, hold on here. Willie Marin says. No, I was assigned to the 3rd Infantry in 1977, whose motto was okay, that's it, thank you. I knew there was something about it. When I heard Rock of the Marne, I went, wait a minute, didn't Willie Marins mention something about that? Okay, thank you very much. Because remember, I was trying to incorporate your division or whatever in my narrative game to make sure that your alter ego in my game is going to be commanding your division or what have you. But anyways, you can see some people already have some points here. It's due to the fact that they've got that battle on their cards. So there you go. World War I pinup. I think what we're going to do now with the pinup guy, gal and guy of the week is only when I find something half decent to do this. Brian R. Smith says, I don't play for the prize. It's fun of participating. Wicked. Yeah, I was like, okay, I guess I should give out prizes or something or whatever. But anyways, so I think what I'm going to do now with the pinup guy, gal and guy of the week is, yes, I know I should go and start doing the trivia thing, which I'll do right now. That makes sense. So here's our first who or what am I for round 4. Gosh, this has been going good. I was so bloody happy that I did pick up those cards from the National World War I Museum and Memorial store. Those little things. That's how it all started off. For goodness sakes, it was so neat. So here's your first clue. I witnessed the Boxer Rebellion. Who or what am I? And so there you go. And remember, you get 1 point just even for guessing, for goodness sakes. So I was thinking what I'm going to do now for the gal and guy of the week, and maybe for a lot of the other little segments, it's like, only I don't have to keep trying to do all the segments every bloody week. Only when some things seem to pop my eye or whatever, that seems to make a bit more sense. So this week, we're going to do Mabel Brownwell, and holy smokes, she got in a really interesting life. And that all due to the fact it came out due to the fact that she was in one of the Globe headlines a couple of weeks ago. I just never brought it out as a poster of the day. And I was like, I wasn't really sure I'm going to do it as a poster today. And I was like, wait a minute, I can use her as a gal of the week. And then Frederick Palmer, as we know, was coming up this week on some of the headlines. I posted him as an image of the day. He was an American reporter, and holy smokes, does he ever have a bloody interesting life. Well, actually, Mabel Brownwell, I think she lived to 1977, for goodness sakes. That's pretty amazing. So there's your first clue. I'm going to go give you the second clue. I was the first foreign secretary that was not an aristocrat for my country. Who am I? So now, yeah, it's obviously who am I? So there we go. I'm going to start grabbing Mabel Brownwell up, and we'll take a quickie look at her picture. And quite an attractive woman as far as I'm concerned. Ironic, I'm not saying that I find my doctor attractive, but oh my God, does she ever look a lot like my doctor? I was like, oh, what the hell? So hold on here. going to stop the screen. And then I've got to present the screen. All right. There. Yeah, there you guys. So you can see that. I'm going to get rid of the banner just for a second. So you can see this little tiddly bit there, the New York, that's where I got it from, the New York Public Library digital collections. That's her. And this is the picture that was in the, I'll blow it up the other way. And this is what got me going with her. She was in the Globe things, like I said, and there she is with, it says, Mabel Brownwell and Henry Quinn are respectively the woman and her boy in Eugene Walter's sensational, powerful play, Just a Woman, the novelty of blah, 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 you get it. But I wanted to get into, and we're going to stop the screen for a bit because now I can go to, I've already added it. I'm so bloody happy I've done this. So there we go. And I know it's not, you can't really see bits here, but I'll try to get to her thing. Hold on, so I can read it out a little bit. Yeah, just very quickly wanted to say she was born in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1883. She had like, for me, I'm like, I'm not going to read the whole on thing here, but it says like she was she ended up becoming a director and was married to a businessman. I thought there was something else I found. She was among the actors in both as a stage star. Yeah, she was allowed to. She was there for the opening of Ben-Hur in 1959 because she was part of the stage production in 1907. So holy smokes, what an interesting life, especially that she lived for that long. She got to see so much. Okay, so now we're going to go to another thing. I'm going to go back to the picture. I don't have it on there. Hold on here. I got to get back to this. I'll get back open here. And I'm into 12 minutes. Not doing too bad, but I said like we've got an awful lot of reading to do. So I'll see what I can get up to there, and now I can present the screen. So this is Frederick Palmer, that reporter that that I mentioned earlier on, and actually he's going to be popping up a few times this week in the war summary, as well as if we get to it, I'd like to show you bits. But hold on, we got to get back to this thing, and I'm going to kill that. And then we can go quickly to just a quick little bit. Like I think he was actually appointed by Pershing and whatnot. It's like, holy moly, some pretty impressive stuff. So I'm going to stop the screen here, there, and now I can present him again. And then we're going to go, trust me, oh my God, there's another comment. Okay, so hold on here. Yep, you guys can see that. I'm going to go to the comments just to make sure I do that. Oh my gosh, we've got 2 points here. Meandering Mike's already off to the races. Mickey Goldmill or Mary Wollsteinkraft. You're getting 2 points, but you are incorrect on both counts. All right, there you go. So there, just wanted to quickly show you Frederick Palmer. 50 years as a war correspondent. Began when he was sent to cover the Greco-Turkish War in 1897. He then covered the gold rush in northwestern Canada, the Philippine-American War. 1900, he went to China to cover the Boxer Rebellion, for goodness sakes. Then he went to the Boer War. Like, holy Moses. He's got also a book out there. I should put it out there. Tolemykus says, Charles Manson, you are getting a point. You are incorrect. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted you guys, you can obviously go look him up, but I was just like, wow, this guy's had some really, there, look at all the stuff that he's done. Goodness gracious. Yeah, he's got a lot of interesting stuff. So there, we've got that done. I've done that. Awesome. Not Manson. Oh, Charles Mason. Sorry. Oh my God. I guess maybe sorry about that. All right. So we got that. I'll give you another clue then. Hold on here. Oh gosh. Okay. I was that. Okay. Oh, this was an interesting one. This guy's had a really interesting, oh my God, Brian R. Smith. How the hell did you do that, man? I am absolutely shocked. Yes, Arthur Zimmerman. Holy, I'm sorry, but I am dumbfounded. That is a mind blower. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to put in the rest of the thing here. I met with Roger Casement, the Irish nationalist, and we hatched to plot the land troops and weapons in Western Ireland. I think up to like 20,000 troops they were thinking about bringing in. Holy smokes. Well done, Brian R. Smith. That's awesome. I was really surprised on that. Well, it's just due to the fact that Zimmerman just got appointed, I think, as foreign secretary right now. I'm pretty sure. And as we know what's going to happen in a few months time kind of thing. In mid-1917, I tried hard to come up with a plan to bring about peace, but I soon resigned from office and my plans failed with it. So this is post-telegram, but he was still trying to set up a peace deal. And it seemed to be a rather good one, actually, but it just, giving back all the territory and so on and so forth. I encouraged the Mexican government to purchase German submarines for their navy. That was surprising. I didn't expect that. And then, of course, this would have been the biggie for everyone, I'm sure. I'm most known for sending a telegram. November 26, 1916 to August 6, 1917. Maybe Charles Manson's dad, right on. Then they're going to also show Brian R. Smith. Well done. Holy smokes, I was not expecting that, man. Okay, so hold on. That is, wow, impressive. Okay, so we got that. Now let's go to that video. Let's go to the fun little video. And like I said, it's also yet again with Brian R. Smith. Oops, I'm going to go back to the banners and hide the banners. There we go. Yeah, okay. Let's take a quickie look and see what the hell. Do I have Zimmerman there? No, we don't have Zimmerman there. Anyways, it didn't matter. Okay, let's go to the video. I think I've already got it set up. Awesome. So yeah, like I said, this is going to be, well, I've got him in the banners actually. Hold on here. You're going to see if I did. I think I did. So the first one you're going to see is a newsreel item on Italian troops practicing attacks in the summer of 1918. I'll read the bigger text maybe while we're watching thing. I think that'll be that. And the next bit part of the newsreel will be, which I thought was wicked. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. The Sub-Lieutenant Rene Fonck, Western Front, May 1918. He's flying a SPAD 13, man, my favorite plane. I was like, oh, wicked. This is so nice to see. And then the third newsreel item is British soldiers eating bread and jam with the proverbial coolness of May 1918. So there we go. I'm going to hide this. I'm going to go to present the screen. And there we go. I'm going to get rid of me so you guys can see everything. Hopefully you guys can see nicely. I said I'll pop it up here and there. Boink. I should have, well, actually, I don't have the full text. I can't go because I don't want to drive you guys nuts with the mouse. But like I said, here's the first bit with the Italian troops. I don't know how long this one is. I don't think it's super long. I've been trying to be nice. I'm looking at. I got to look at the comments. The Mickey Goldmill guess was a very obscure pun based on the Rocky movies. Oh, Boxer Rebellion. Well done, man. Jesus Christ, your mind. Oh, I hope to God we get to the BGG game of the week, man. It is a real interesting concept. And I hope to God that you guys know of other games that are like it. You'll see what I mean, hopefully. This is crazy just to watch, like. Yeah, I can see why they use slingshots and whatnot. You know, when you hear about those things, the trench whatevers, to get like a much better range than just throwing it with your arm. But then hearing about, I assume this is the trench. Yeah, I think so. Oh, sorry, I'll pop your thing on. Yeah, I'm sure you're right, Meandering Mike. Ooh. Oh, I guess this is a pretty long movie, long video, but hopefully it's not driving you guys nuts. We're all right. Like I said, I think what I'll try to do is curtail a little bit and pop on the other stuff, but I certainly would like to very quickly go to the BGG game of the week, and then we'll go off into the week that was the ATA, and then, oh, good. Awesome. Thank you very much, Manu Mike. And yet again, I don't want to edit. Oh, yes, here we go. The SPAD 13. What? Come on, man. Look at this plane. I know it wasn't the best plane in the world. There's an Osprey book, actually, SPAD 13 versus the Fokker D7 or something. I wouldn't mind getting that. Look at that, sweetheart. Look at that beautiful plane. Look at that. I've never seen it so up close. Look at that. Not a big plane either, is it? So beautiful. Oh, darn it. That's the end. I could have watched him for minutes. There's a funny scene here where guys like drops part of his food, and I'm like, but they're all good with it. God, I couldn't have done that, man. I would have been one of the quietest people in the end of the thing. I'm just not into that type of social gathering. Holy moly. I would have had a miserable time. I mean, I would have done my part, but I just would have had a miserable time. Ugh. I think I would have tried very hard to see if I could get a position like some lone spot. I don't know, some crazy reconnaissance thing. I don't care where you stick me in some stupid little whatever. It'd be fine by me. Oh, there we go. That's the end of that. All right. Wasn't that that long? Okay, so I'm going to stop the screen. And then, like I said, I want to go quickly to the BGG thingamajig. Hold on here. We're going to go to my video, and then we're going. So originally, why I didn't want to do a video in the sense that, oh, hold on here. Tolemykus, War, the Social Gathering must be a game title. Oh, Jesus Christ. That would, yeah, almost something like Hollandspiele would do in a sense, because, gosh, they're so creative, so outside the box. Okay, so hold on here. I got to get to the links. Yeah, we'll go to the links. Anyways, I did some pictures of the game. It's on the Piave. I do believe it's called, or across the Piave. Sorry, by designer Halmar Gerber or whatever. But we're going to go to my YouTube. Anyways, the pictures that I did not look very well, and the reason why I wanted to do pictures is to show you the map. The hexes are really interesting as far as I'm concerned. And when I saw the part of the game mechanisms, I was like, I wonder if other people know about these things. I got so shit. It should have stopped. There we go. I'm going to present the screen. That should be good. All right. So you guys can see that. Excellent. And like I said, this is across the Piave. It was made in well, I'm going to mention it in a minute. It's made in 2002. Looks like a self-published type game. Like I had to scan the counter sheet, make my own counters, that type of thing. No big whoop. I love making counters, but you're going to see what I mean by the map. I thought, wow. All right, yeah, I did a few pictures, but they came out blurry, and I really wanted you guys to see and I'm hoping you will. I have not played this game. I have not read the rules, but I wanted you guys to see that it's almost reminding me in some ways of Der Weltkrieg, the way he has segregated the hexes, but I don't know if you're going to be able to see. I hope so. You'll see with the counters. Hold on here. I'll try to. That each hex has these little white boxes. It's got a core in the middle, and then I think those are unlimited stacking from what I know, and these are contact boxes or something. But anyways, you can see what there's two scenarios for this. Well, we'll go and take a look at the designer's comments and whatnot on ComSim World. But I did want to kind of show you quickly what you get. It's a Ziploc thing. It's from 2002. It's pretty darn old, but seems like there was a fair amount of people that did comment on it. So here, I'm actually going to have to probably zone out a bit there. So there you go. So there's the combat table. And then they have one for Vittorio Veneto. This is the second scenario. And then they also have another scenario with the Austrians trying to get across the Piave before the the eventual Italian victory in the end there. Here's another turn track with weather, morning and afternoon weather. So it's pretty interesting. And then, yeah, as you can see, I've scanned it out and printed out my own counters, what you have to do. So that's that. And then the rules, which are not, I just quickly took a look in, but it'll be interesting. I just, this concept of, I want to find out. And there's this other thing about a secret combat readiness or combat-ability that gets diminished or replenished over time. So there seems to be some interesting mechanisms I'd like to go and take a look at. So that's it. I was going to, like I said, do a bunch of pictures, but they came out blurry. So hopefully this is half decent. I'll do another zoom in of the, make it really in there. Maybe you can really start seeing the whatever. All right, that's it. See you later. All right, hold on here. I got to get rid of this. Ploink, ploink. All right, and now we're going to, I was like, what the hell is going on with this thing? So we're going to quickly go to the Consim World thing for his design. He talks a little bit about it. There we go. Just want to make sure I get to that. And then we're going to go off into the week that was, and it's just we're running out of time. And if we do have time left, then I'll just add in the other stuff rather than some kind of crazy mad rush. Hold on here, but I did want to show the scan that I did of one of the pages for the rules, because that's what I wanted to chat about. Quite frankly, was this thing. I still want to learn more about it. Where did you get your, it wasn't, I didn't get a print and play, unfortunately, Meandering Mike. I think I picked this up either, I think 2 years ago at Can Games from Bob, that seems to sometimes have these really, he just picks up these obscure titles and whatnot. I'm pretty darn sure, like I also ended up getting like the Allenby one from someone else, that publisher. I can't remember the person's name. Similar to Carrie Anderson type style, but no, I know that there was one at Noble Knight or something or so forth. But yeah, I'll be honest with you, Meandering Mike, it's surprising that this thing is not a print and play. I'm like, just make some money, dude. Especially if you're it's a self-publishing thing. Hold on here, I'm going to get to the thing, but I'm really interested in the. Yep, there we go. I wanted you guys to see this. So I think we can still. So it's down here. It's this bit of the combat readiness. This is that thing I was mentioning to you, and it seems like you can keep it secret. And I kind of like it in the sense that it seems like it's on that sheet for the units. So it's kept aside where you're not like having dummy counters or whatever on the map and driving, each player nuts, like, oh, look away while I do my thing. I can just look away, like, put a screen over my thing while I'm playing. You guys can't see it. But here it is. Like, every combat unit has a combat readiness rating. I don't know, like, if you guys know of another game that's out there that uses this type of mechanism, I'd love to find out more about this. That represents a combination of the unit's current strength, supply level, and state of readiness exhaustion. The higher the number, the better the unit. The CRR is expressed in combat readiness points, the common currency of the game. I was like, wow, this sounds really neat. And that's it. I just wanted to show you that little bit. But then we're now going to go to, I hope, the designer's thing. And I'm surprised. There was, I'm going to get rid of me so we can see a bit better. And I'll also make it a little bit, bump it up a bit more. There we go. So there's the designer. He talks very quickly about the game. He says, here's innovative in many aspects. It certainly is, to me, it seems. Turn sequence is half a day, as we saw that with the weather, the morning and afternoon type of stuff. I thought that was kind of neat as well. A3 size, yet again, getting into this small footprint. I really like this. 200, yeah, because it's got two different scenarios, which I thought was totally neat. There we go. Combat readiness is typically used in modern war games, but occasionally in them. I thought maybe I'd heard of something about American Civil War too. No reason it can't be applied to other periods. Thanks, man. So, okay, so I'm gonna have to talk to you more about this then later. That's for sure. So anyways, I thought, wow, I'm ever darn happy I actually picked this up. Like I said, it was just the only reason why I did pick it up, obviously, was because it was a great war game. And I'm like, well, if I don't have it and it's not like an insane price, you're coming home. It's as simple as that. So we're at 30 minutes, not too bad. Let's go take a look quickly at the narrative. I just want to make sure that I'm there, and then we can see if there was any other amazing little thing I could. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention that Zoe Dufar is not here as well. She's been she's going out and hanging out with a friend that she's known since I think grade school, for goodness sakes. But she's getting married, so they're doing some bridal preparatory thingamajig or something. I don't know. But you get the idea. That's why she's not here. Hold on here. Is that the? Yep. So there we go. We're going to get back to this. Let me get rid of this thing for you. Yeah, we saw that. Oh yes, this one. Here's another game. Let's find out if you guys know about this one. I saw it when I was at Board Game Bliss, and I was like, geez, I'm going to get rid of the description here. I don't need you anymore. Thank you. And then we're going to go to here, and then it's there we go. So do you guys know anything about this game? Let me hold on here. I got to pop it in. Yep, I can do it now because we already went to the consim thing. Okay, stop the screen. I'm going to show you this dude. So I saw this. It's too expensive for me right now, $122 Canadian. But does anybody know about this game, Assault on Gallipoli, the Anzac landing campaign by Hex? I guess I don't know if Hexasim is they picked it up secondly, kind of like, actually here, I think it says here, Assault on Gallipoli is a 2-player strategic war game that covers the key battles of the Gallipoli campaign in 1915. What? Very much since I just bought that. Stupid Joe has covered it. Holy cow. Thanks, man, for letting us know. Oh, that's wicked. So I can go and watch somebody actually play it. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, because I was like, whoa, I had no idea about this game. That sounded rather interesting. Thanks. Oh, this is working out really well. And I also going to say on a side note, what you're going to find out if anybody hangs out for the after hours thing. I think I've mentioned before, I was mentioning to you yesterday or early this morning, Charles Satora, that doing the war summary for me sometimes is like pulling teeth, but I don't know what happened. This one I had a really fun time doing, and I'm like, geez, I hope this continues. That's for sure. Okay, so let's get back to the narrative, and I can present that so we can see what we're doing. All right, I'm glad to find out about that. Thanks, man. All right, and there we go. There we go. And the Deutschland article, we still got a bit of time because I wanted to, like I said, these are headline type of things that I noticed during the week and whatnot, and I was like, oh gosh, but I'm not going to put them into a daily headlines thing. There's just so much you can only pop in, kind of thing. So here you go. Hold on. Yeah, let's do that, and then we can go over. So Deutschland will carry Kaiser, and it'll be interesting to know. I don't know if they are actually going to be able to get there. I don't think they do a third trip. But it says here, Deutschland will carry Kaiser's gift to Wilson, Emperor William, whatever, President Wilson as a Christmas present as a deluxe set of American authors, specially prepared, printed, and bound at the Royal Printing Works in Berlin, according to the Budapest newspaper Az Est. The German submarine Deutschland, the newspaper says, will carry the gift to the United States on her next trip across the Atlantic. Emperor William's Christmas gift to Pope Benedict will be a Bible, magnificently illuminated and bound. I thought, like I said, I wanted to start doing these type of things. There's the other thing I thought was kind of interesting. We've been talking about all the grief that the Mexicans and the Americans have been having. And Pershing went down there and so on and so forth. And here it is. This happened this week, November 28th. Francisco Villa bandit army, after its reported capture of Chihuahua City, is proceeding northward, according to meager information obtainable here today. Now, hold on, I got to see. I wanted to show a few other things here very quickly. The Bethman Holveg thing, just through the fact that yet again about people they're real people, man. They had, I can't remember if it was Foch, that lost one of his sons in 1914, pretty darn quick. But Beckman Holweg loses, lost his wife in May of 1914, and then later on in 1914, he loses his son as well. But I just thought here he was talking about afterwards about they were saying the strain that he was put under afterwards, but it's not this neat. This is one of his quotes. If one talks about guilt for this war, we also have our share of the responsibility that we have to confess honestly, he confided. And if I say this thought depresses me, that would be too little. The thought does not leave me. I live in it. I was like, holy shoot. These it's amazing, for me anyways, I'm reading these history books and whatnot. I have to sometimes forget that, these are real people, for goodness sakes. Oh, yes. So here's this month's mystery pick from the World War I, National World War I Museum and Memorial. So we have to try to figure out what the hell that is. And they're going to probably tell us, in December. But I was lucky enough this time to actually save the bloody picture. So at least we could try to figure out. Before it was like, because later they don't show you that thing. I'm like, oh, come on, people. The Gentler Army. Yes. I thought, remember, again, we've been doing this, Meandering Mike, you were, we were talking about, boy, wouldn't it be interesting to continue on with the data set of trying to find out officer to non-officer prisoners taken in percentages and along different fronts, and also over the years, if we can start seeing some interesting trends and patterns. But anyways, here's an article that was that came out this week. Here's the reason for the gentler enemy, and I just brought in the percentages. I just did the percentages this morning here just to show here. So the one at the top here is the Germans, like infantry, like army things. So you can see at 2%, naval officers at 7%. I thought that was interesting. I don't know why. It would be maybe you guys know why there would be a higher percentage of naval officers taken compared to whatever. If it's because of the nature of being on a ship or what, I don't know. But there we go. And you can see that the British are actually significantly higher for the naval bit. I thought that was rather interesting. 11.5% officers there versus 3%. I don't know if that would have dropped if there would have been way more. I mean, if you look over here with the Germans, there's 1,976 other ranks that were taken. It was only 361. So, I mean, obviously that's skewed a little bit kind of thing that way. But I wanted to show you that. We're doing not too bad, I think. Yeah, I think I'll try to push it in as much as I can here. Let's go to Frederick Paul, not that one, Frederick Palmer. We got to go to the, is it in the, do I already have it in there? No, hold on here. I'm gonna put in, well, let's quickly put in this Russian view here. It was just talking the Russian military view of the Romanian struggle. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but they're talking about due to the fact that it certainly looks like the Allies goofed in estimating what the Central Powers could get into. It was pretty interesting little article. Maybe I'll pop it in the thingamajigs. Hold on here. I think I have to. I'm gonna get rid of this now. I'm gonna go to here. Do I have it in there? No. No, I have to open it up. Hold on here. And then we're gonna go straight into the other stuff. Didn't I? Where would you be then? Oh, of course. It's the Allies. Yes, that's it. Now I was like, I knew it was a Frederick Palmer thing I wanted to talk about. So here's an article that he popped in this week. Oh my gosh, hold on here. Man, Mike just popped in a huge thing here. For land command and control, an officer can control more troops. Navy has a higher percentage of officers on a ship. For Air Force, all the pilots are officers. Holy shit. Okay, so that would be interesting. 100% then. Thanks for that, man. Right on. Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what exactly why there was such a difference here. But anyways, that's not Frederick Palmer. This is this guy here who ends up becoming a commander and captain of the 29th Squadron Royal Flying Corps. He's Canadian, so they're all excited. Anyways, Frederick Palmer's here. We just saw him there. The guy that was, assigned by Pershing and so on and so forth, had a huge career. He's here in Toronto talking about the war and what he's been seeing. Here he's talking about, I'm not going to go through the whole bloody thing. He's got a lot of other stuff to go through, but Romania is not going to suffer the fate of Serbia. She's not lost many prisoners or guns or much transport. I think this war will be decided on the Western Front. The Grand Somme offensive will go on all winter and will continue with greater vigor next year. I'm convinced the Allies will break the line one day, and it is only going to be broken once. And he talks about they're not going to get into full strength until the summertime. This I found interesting in the article here. He says, I didn't know this. Mr. Palmer paid high tribute to the gallantry and resourcefulness of the Canadian troops, declaring that Canadians were responsible for the introduction of the trench raid. I didn't know that. They have contributed that, at least, to modern military science. It is the simplest thing in the world, but the most difficult to carry out. And then later on, he says here, the Germans adopted it. The novelty had proved so successful that the Germans adopted it 2 or 3 weeks after it was introduced, and they were now claiming it as their own. So I'm going to have to take a look and see if find out more about that. Hey all, sorry I'm late. Great to see you, man. Well, it is. I hope you're doing well. So I just thought I'm gonna have to look up more about this trench raiding thingamajig. Like I've mentioned before, as soon as Douglas Haig popped in on the scene, holy moly, you want to see trench raids skyrocket. And yet again, it's probably not only to do with the fact of trying to gain intelligence and so on and so forth. It's also to try to, in their minds, maybe boost morale a little bit, but I think it's got more to do with the fact of trying to get rid of those tacit truces that were developing over time, you know what I mean, with people in the static line chit-chatting amongst each other. And here it is with British and Verdun. He says, why did not the British army go to the aid of the French at Verdun? He used to say, perhaps General Joffre knows more about it than we do. It is impossible to mix a British and a French army, he explained. If they were mixed, they would spend so much time trying to understand one another's language that they would not get much fighting done. I'm thinking, oh my God, we should be thinking about Austria-Hungary, those poor bastards. Oh, especially when they start losing their officers. Holy shit. Anyways, and here we go back. The more highly civilized, I thought this was weird, but I mean, yet again, at time and where he's from. The more highly civilized is the soldier, the better he fights. The Somme offensive will go on all this winter and will continue with great vigor next year. So anyways, I wanted to pop that in. Oh, another one here. Canadians are on the offensive. Mr. Palmer, and this was primarily due to the fact, from what I've heard sometimes, of I think it was mentioned with Ernst Junger, actually, in Storm of Steel, when he was part of the Ludendorff offensives there in 1918. I think he mentioned how excited they were to finally be on the offensive and not have to sit around being on the defensive in the trenches for so long. They were really excited by that bit. Anyways, it also talks about here, when I saw those Canadians before the attack on the Moquet farm, I knew they meant business. They'd been on the defensive for over a year. Now they were going to have their first chance on the offensive. Wardrobe's here. Great to see you. My once a quarter actual watching the stream live. Lovely choral music playing in the house. Beautiful. Oh, you lucky bugger. And what a life. Wicked. I know we're in the land of real good choral music. I'm so happy right now. The radio station that I subscribe to, KUSC from Southern California, they have they're doing a 24/7 choral Christmas thingamajig. It's been on for ages, so I love it to bits. So there we go. I got to show that. Now we're going to go off. We've got 15 minutes left. We're going to go to the week that was for flipping sure. And then we're going off to the ATA. And like I said, again, William Arentz, my God, I feel like you're my bloody co-pilot, man. It's been freaking awesome that way. So I'm going to go to here. So I'm saying if I drop dead or something, you're taking over. That's it. Tough. So good luck to you. All right, here we go. The week that was November 24th to the 30th of November, 1916. 24th of November, Mackensen crosses the Danube at Sitava and Islatsk. I got to tell you right now, man, wait until you flip and see when we get to this. If anybody's hanging out for the after hours thing for the live summary, it's a Romania special. Holy shoot, it's crazy. British hospital ship Braemar Castle mined or torpedoed in the Aegean. Trepov succeeds Sturmer as Russian premier. French Admiral Dufournet presents the ultimatum to Greece. Give me your freaking military equipment. Thank you very much. November 25th, Germans advance on Bucharest, fighting at Curtea de Agres and German occupation of Rhymnik. Germans advance towards Razori and Alexandria from the south. Upper Aluta position is turned. The German Patriotic Auxiliary Service Bill presented to the Reichstag. What the hell is that about? November 26th, German naval raid near Lowestoft with the armed trawler Narval reported sunk. German surrender at Elumble near Lake Nyassa. French battleship Suffren sunk by submarine. The Eastern Sinai Railway reaches Mazar. I'm assuming that's the Allies preparing their offensive towards Gaza. I'm assuming. Mackinson reaches Alexandria, is in touch with Falkenhayn. French and Serbians capture Hill 1050, about 7 miles northeast of Monastir. Hold on here. I knew it. When I'm not kidding you, man. I knew you were going to start doing something with Suffren. I had a feeling, but I didn't know you were going to do that. That's excellent. That's a really good one. Suffren Sinkatash. Oh my God, you're like, I don't know what's going on with your brain today, man, but it's firing in all neurons. November 27th, Zeppelin raid on the northeast coast and North Midlands with 2 Zeppelins brought down and 4 civilians reportedly killed and 37 injured. They talk about it in the war summary. It's fantastic. Germans advance on Bucharest, capture Curtea, Agres, and Ghervo, and occupy Alexandria. The Romanians abandon the Aluta line. Stubborn fighting by the Ursurva force. Oh my God, I wish we had Paul Hederer for this type of stuff. Russians drive back the Turks in Persia, taking much war material. The city of Birmingham sunk by German submarine with 4 lost. November 28th, Bulgarians occupy Ghervo along the Danube. Successful British raid near Makovo along the left bank of the Vardar. Greek batteries that were to be surrendered to the Allies were moved to Chalcis. Military government by USA officers of the Dominican Republic proclaimed. I don't know what the hell that's about. Russian success in the Carpathians with the heights east of Jablanica Pass and east of Kurlibaba captured. Midday raid on London by 1 airplane injuring 10, but subsequently shot down in France. Yes, Tolemykus, I believe Meandering Mike is red hot on fire. That's for sure. November 29th, Germans capture Campalung and Petici northwest of Bucharest. Mackinson at Pogliarino, 17 miles south of Bucharest. Russian Carpathian offensive continues. Austrians massing troops on the Kharso front. Fighting east of Monastir continues despite fog. Admiral Jellicoe announced the first Sea Lord and Admiral Beatty, Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Fleet. Oh, I didn't get to check to see if that picture worked. The Beatty one, I think I popped that on this morning, his wife. I got to go and take a look. British seaplanes bomb Garevis, Bulgaria. British Board of Trade takes over the South Wales coalfield from December 1st, 1916. The protest of USA against deportations of Belgians. November 30th, Greek government refuses Dufournet's demand for surrender of guns. Oh, yeah. And the percentage of the Belgians that actually get deported, that actually end up doing things, like labor-wise, is pitifully small. And so it was, I think it's part of Ludendorff's machinations right now to get this going. Doesn't work. Greek reserve officers are called up. Lord Derby makes a speech regarding the new volunteer army. I've got to find out more about Lord Derby, man. And oh my gosh, Lord Lansdowne as well. Russians are, WNN, if he's still around, he would know all kinds of things about it. There's nothing new in USA interfering with Latin American countries. Russians are 30 miles south of the northern Persian border. General artillery action along the Italian front. Greek army reported marching north. Allied troops land at Piraeus. German force passage at River Milovo, 16 miles southwest of Bucharest. Russians repulsed at Zlata Lipa in Galicia. There's fighting, though, in Bukovina. The Crown's Crown Prince gives up command of the German army on the Verdun front, and French aircraft bomb Thionville. Now we're going to go to the ATA. Let me have a little sip of water, for God's sakes, for a second here. All right. Like I said, I knew it was going to be a lot of reading today, but that's just the way it goes. Translator's note, and now we're off to William Aarons' stuff here. This week I have translated 6 articles, all from the Berlin News. The first 2 are from the issue of 25th of November 1916. The first article is about the Eastern Front. The second concerns the attempted assassination of the Russian ambassador to Greece. And look at Charles Latour's thingamajig here. Realized yesterday I don't have any proper troops for the silver bayonet game, just French and Prussian soldiers. So I bought some figures with handguns. I have no idea about silver bayonet, so if you want to let us know, or me know, that would be great, Charles Latour. The next 2 are from the issue of 27th November 1916 about further actions on the Eastern Front and the Venizelos Greek government declarations of war against Bulgaria and Germany. The final 2 articles are from the 30th of November 1916 issue about the first about the U-boat war, and the second a different look at society in the form of a glowing review of a performance of an opera. When we're in opera season right now. One thing that stands out to me about these articles is that they seem to be repeating the same information over and over, either in the same article or in adjacent articles. Another recurring theme is the desire to exaggerate and repeat every possible good thing happening both on the battlefields and even in the opera house. And Darby was a big supporter of Haig. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I can see why he's going to be doing good then. Another recurring theme is the desire to exaggerate and repeat every possible good thing about happening both on the battlefields and even in the opera house, as though putting everything in the best possible light will yield victory by itself. And here we go. Berlin's latest news, you got to love that. I mean, come on, man. A non-partisan newspaper, 25th November 1916, a successful patrol maneuver in Volny, I think. This is a telegram from our war correspondent embedded with our Eastern Army. It still blows me away when I didn't know that reporters were embedded so far back. I only remember hearing about that like in the Kuwait War and whatnot. Army Group Bernard, 23rd of November 1916. After a period of snow and fog, there was activity on the Eastern Front. Since the collapse of the Russian offensive, there's only been well-planned battles in which we have successfully advanced, where before we had been limited and disabled by the weather. Yesterday, under clear and sunny skies, we began an active artillery barrage on certain enemy positions. Ooh, hold on here. They just released a new book for Silver Bayonet, Italy, The Shades of Calabria. And you guys have to let me know. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. Today in the afternoon, our batteries were brought to bear north of the Kovel-Sarny train line, northeast of Peronek. I don't even know what period of war you're talking about, for goodness sakes. And we silenced a Russian battery through our well-placed fire. At the same time, a forward position of Russian troops was forced to take cover. Around 4 o'clock, as darkness was setting in, a mixed force of German and Austrian-Hungarian units advanced on that position and found that it had been completely destroyed and filled with the dead. The rest of the garrison, made up of a Finnish rifle regiment, was captured. Oh, excellent. Thank you, Charles Latour. Napoleonic era of Gothic horror. What? Goodness gracious. The significance of this small undertaking has been to show that the spirit of the offensive and the overall tide of victory is on our side. It has also been in the successful heavy barrages of the artillery batteries in our Southern Army as well, and the dashing and brilliantly successful large-scale offensive attacks on Strubova. This is all supported by the facts that from the time of the most recent Russian offensive, we have been the victors in both smaller and larger operations. Rolf Brandt, war correspondent, the attempted assassination of the Russian ambassador to Athens, Lugano, 24th of November. The Corriere della Sera reported out of Athens that a rumor about the murder of the King of Greece had apparently been originated by the actual attempt on the life of the Russian ambassador Demidov. He had been traveling by train to Salonika in the vicinity of Larissa when the assassination attempt was made. Demidov survived unharmed. The train he was traveling on had been fired upon by troops of the reserve and had been derailed during that action. Hold on here. Berlin's latest news, a non-partisan newspaper, of course. The 27th of November, 1916, the crossing of the Danube is completed. The Eastern Theater of War at the front of the Field Marshal General Prince Leopold von Bayern of Bavaria, in the vicinity of the Baltic coast, north of Smorgon, as well as by the front near Servech and wherever, there was increasing enemy artillery fire. Russian units that are tight to the sea in the area of Kravchin forward towards Zirki in the region of the Upper Styn, I think maybe Stier, I'm going to go with that one, were forced back. Maybe wrong, but I'm going to say that. From the front of Colonel General Archduke Joseph, once again in the conflict by Bactra Niagara in the Giro Mountains, the Russian companies found no success at that location. The Alt Valley by Ramika Balsia has been taken. The Romanians in the hills north of Cortia de Agres are still fighting with a stubborn resistance. Under the leadership of Lieutenant General Graf von Schmettau's German cavalry in the region of the lower Alt Valley threw back a Romanian cavalry division, and afterwards the German cavalry successfully moved forward. That is pretty cool to hear about that. Streets leading eastward from the Alt are filled with fleeing automotive traffic, whose direction is made known by them by the towns that have been set on fire behind them. The crossing of the Danube, has been accomplished with an ever-increasing strength in numbers. Mackenson's troops in front of Alexandria, the Balkan theater of war. The army group of Field Marshal General von Mackensen, fire from the sea that reinforced the enemy fire along the coast was ineffective against the army of Dobruja. Under the watchful eyes of Field Marshal General von Mackensen, the change of control of the riverbank has occurred. For the further operations in Western Romania, chosen Danube army units will now execute that operation according to plan. We now stand before Alexandria. The ability to overcome the effects of the suddenly thawing weather that caused high water to rise in the streams of the hills, affecting the soldiers on the front, has been accomplished by the excellent work of combat engineers called pioneers in German. Yeah, I've been reading about that, as well as Indy Nidell mentioned it this week, that the engineers were really busy building things to get across the rivers and so on and so forth, who are also working along a portion of the Imperial Kaiserlich motorboat corps. Cool. The Imperial and Royal Kaiserlich and Königlich Danube flotilla under the command of the captain of the ship of the line Ruch, and the Austrian-Hungarian Combat Engineer Division under the Major General Gogol. Venizelos declaration of war. Oh my God, I better hurry up. And on Germany and Bulgaria, we're almost finished, anyways. London, December 26th, November. Not bad timing then. After an exchange of telegrams, the Venizelos government has declared war on Bulgaria. 26th of November in Bern. The Corriere della Sera spoke out its opinion of the aim of Venizelos to declare war on both Germany and Bulgaria was that the troops that would eventually be in conflict against Germany and Bulgaria would not be seen as freelancing mercenaries. 25th of November, Athens, dispatch from the Reuters Bureau. In consequence of the war declaration, Harro Bosma's on here. Just go, sorry, not able to respond. Incoming. No worries, man. We know that. And I hope you're having a great old time with your friends. In consequence of the war declaration of the provisional Greek government against Bulgaria, Greece is now actually at war with Bulgaria, while the triumvirate in Salonika disregards the wishes of the actual Greek government of the king. The provisional Greek government also declared war on Germany after ships had been torpedoed who had been flying the flags of the nation of Greece and its armed forces. Berlin's latest news, a non-partisan newspaper, 30th November 1916, the U-boat cruiser war, Cairo, 29th of November. The Greek steamship Margarita was sunk by a U-boat. Its passengers and crew were taken ashore at Alexandria, Egypt. 29th of Amsterdam. Lloyd's reports that the steamship Villamus on course for Grimsby had been confronted at sea. Lloyd's further reported that the French sailing ship Alfred de Cone, the ship Malvina, the American steamship Chemung, the Norwegian steamship Belle Isle, the English steamship Rona, and the Greek steamship Christophres have all been sunk. Reuters Washington Bureau reported that the American Foreign Office had been informed by the American consul in Valencia, Spain, that the steamship Chemung had been lost at sea. One is led to believe that this case is similar to that of the William P. Frey. That ship had a list of banned goods on board, but no passengers or crew were lost at that time. It is a possibility that the current situation can be settled through diplomatic channels. Yeah, not for long. 30th November 1916. Tristan and Isolde performed in the Königlich Royal Opera House. Heinrich Noth and Helen Wilbrun as guest artists. The performance yesterday, 29th of November, of Richard Wagner's Tristan and Isolde made a statement of a surprisingly agreeable kind, that the Munich chamber music singer Heinrich Noth was a first-rate Tristan was foreseen, but he also exceeded the most extreme expectations by giving a performance of a rare kind that should be a model for all others. The second, still greater surprise was exhibited by the Royal Württemberger singer Helen Wildbrunn of the Court Opera of Stuttgart. Her Isolde was what someone can positively call ideal. This lady personified everything in herself that should exist in the embodiment of this glorious feminine role, which is kind of nice because the gal of the week was an actress as well. So this is kind of cool. This has included a noble countenance, a superior, well-trained, magnificent voice, and an extraordinary true-life artistic portrayal. One can assert without exaggeration that the best Tristan and the best Isolde of this present time have been made their appearances here. Besides this, both of these unsurpassed operatic powers have not created a template of excellence to emerge as the Lord Bishop himself has exclaimed with particular appreciation. The musical direction was led in excellent form by the general music director Bleck. Philip Hotzel, translator's note, at least the high tempo of culture, the Berlin Opera House was not under the threat of aerial bombardment during World War I. That attack on culture would have to wait until the next World War, when there would be little regard given to cultural palaces or the talented artists who performed there. But both rehearsals and performances were likely to be interrupted by air raid sirens from 1939 to 1945. The Berlin of 1916 was not yet so threatened, and this opera reviewer could indulge himself in the illusion of the triumph of high culture over the losses and wastes of the war. Wow, William Aarons, freaking awesome. Another romance where they all die in the end. I don't know. I've only listened to part of the music. I've never actually know anything about it, to be honest with you. So thanks for letting me know. Hold on here. Let me get to the, because we're just about to go to the after hours show. Well, not too bad. We're only 3 minutes over. Thanks again, everyone, for showing up. Hope to goodness that we're on next week as per usual. That would be, oops, the wrong thing. I know we're going to go to, it'll be number 99. And then hopefully, like I said, I'm hoping that I can do like a submarine special or something for number 100. But if you guys have some interesting ideas, that would be great to know. Hold on here. I want to make sure that I'm at the right one. And I'm about to mute myself, like I said. So I hope you guys have a great remainder of your weekend, a great week. Thanks again. For goodness sakes, if you got anything you want to contribute, like scans of pictures or like, yeah, I think this is interesting, or I saw this little podcast or whatever about things, for goodness sakes, throw them our way and I'll pop them on the thing here. Okay, so let me go and present the screen. And then I'm gonna hold on here. I like romances where they live. Yeah, I guess you must be a big fan of the what is it? The Harlequin Romance channel or something. I'm happy to have contributed to your channel. Well, man, we all are, man. You have no idea how bloody grateful we are for you. It's not funny. So I'm going to pop this in here. Present the screen. Yeah, about to disappear, like I said here. So I got you there. You guys can see here. I'm going to go full on. Boink. And I'm about to hit it off. Okay, I'm turning it into Mr. Texter, just like you guys. See you later. Bye. All right, here we go for live stream 98, the week that was November 24th to the 30th, 1916. I'm just going to say I'll try not to sip too much, but it's almost 1 in the morning on Friday, and usually try to get this done on by Thursday evening, but I was just too darn tired. Anyways, I am sipping some coffee, so I'll try to not be super loud with the sipping. All right, here we go. November 24th. North of Monastir, the enemy counterattacked after receiving reinforcements, but was repulsed. The fight is carried out under very difficult conditions, and the enemy is offering a stubborn resistance. French troops, in a dashing assault, carried the village of Dobromie, while the Serbs on the right of the French captured the village of Paralovo. Mind you, maybe that isn't pronounced kind of French then. Where they are. 300 enemy prisoners were taken in these engagements. To the west of Monastir, fresh progress was made by the Italian troops. On the western shore of Lake Presba, the French advanced to the outskirts of Hotsovo. The enemy's positions at Toplachti and Pinup were bombarded by a French aerial fleet. God, I wish I could almost summon my inner Meandering Mike when I'm doing some of these things, especially when he's doing the thing with Cortez and whatnot. I'm not going to try to say the city, so there we go. On the Transylvania front, pressure has been sensibly relieved by the arrival of Russian reinforcements. The Romanian official report yesterday states the situation is unchanged on the western Moldavian frontier and the Bezu Valley. At Brodosea and Pridelis, infantry actions of a minor character are recorded. Artillery and infantry engagements took place in the valley of Prahova. The Bucharest dispatch adds that the Romanian fortified themselves in captured positions in the region of Dragoslavele. In the valley of the Alt, the Romanians held their positions after infantry and artillery engagements. In western Wallachia, the Romanians have withdrawn from the valley of Dwil and have occupied positions on the Oles. Allied naval losses have been increased by the sinking of the Imperatrice Maria of 22,700 tons, carrying 12-inch guns as a main armament. The loss is admitted officially from Petrograd. And Charles Latorre, you were mentioning this earlier in the week of what happened. Was it poor seamanship or espionage? We'll find out in a minute, maybe. An internal explosion is the cause assigned, but how this occurred is not known. Of the crew, about 200 are missing. Simultaneously, news from the British Admiralty that the Britannic was sunk by a mine. There were no wounded troops on board, only the crew and nursing staff. Hold on here. Hindenburg's plan of campaign was criticized yesterday in an interview by Major General F.B. Maurice, Chief Director of Military Operations of the War Office. Oops, I just dropped water all over the place. Hold on, I better hit pause. All right. Yep, and it went over a bunch of plugs and a power bar. Let's just hope for everything goes well. The German venture in Romania, while it may satisfy the spirit of revenge that seems to dominate German war plans, does not compensate for losses elsewhere due to the withdrawal of Teuton troops. Since the advance against Romania, the Germans have lost much ground and 6,000 prisoners at Verdun, while the British also took advantage of the weakening of the enemy's line by capturing positions on the Ancre and taking 7,000 prisoners. On the Italian front, the enemy also lost ground and 5,000 prisoners. General Maurice, while declining to prophesy as to the outcome of the German invasion of Romania, makes allusion to the rapid approach of midwinter, which in these regions is liable to interrupt further military operations and to swing the advantages in favor of Romania. Everything the British in their recent operations set out to gain, they captured. The crisis in Greece is fast approaching a climax. The Allies, following the refusal of the Greek government to hand over a stated proportion of their arms and munitions, took possession of a station in the suburbs of Athens. The action of the Allies, it now transpires, was taken after the discovery that Germany had given orders to sink all transports carrying Venizelos troops. This was equivalent to a declaration of war against the provisional government at Salonika. King Constantine is playing a desperate game, but the Allies apparently have grown tired of diplomatic conversations. The bridge at Tarabia has been blown up by the Romanians. This is the end of the railway that runs from the Danube to the Craiova-Bucharest road. It is held by some military experts that this indicates that the Romanians are in straits. Berlin claims to have captured 300 railway trucks in Craiova. Although the situation in Romania is still obscure, there is a growing feeling of optimism. It is rumored that the Allied troops in the Dobruja will attack Mackensen before long. Where the hell are they getting these optimism bits? Oh my gosh. The operations of the Serbs and their allies to the north and northeast of Monastir are growingly important. An official Serbian dispatch records the occupation of the village of Rapesh on the north bank of the Cerna, 16 miles northeast of Monastir. The ground won has been gained despite the violent resistance of the enemy. That resistance was inspired by the knowledge that if the Serbs can push eastward a few miles farther along the north bank of the Cerna, they will outflank the new German-Bulgar positions on the range of mountains south of Prilep, and by compelling the enemy to evacuate Prilep and the Babuna Pass, reconquer a very large part of the southwestern Macedonia. General Saré's army is almost within reach of a very substantial victory following the battles of the past 2 weeks. It is announced that in the retreat from Suhadol, where a German force has been defeated, the Serbs took important booty consisting of food depots, engineering implements, and other war material. The great loss of supplies accompanying and following upon the evacuation of Monastir must have crippled seriously the Bulgars and their German backers. The supplies captured by the Allied troops can be replaced only by transport wagons operating over wild and snow-covered mountain passes. The nearest railway station to the Bulgar front is at Krivolak, 40 miles distant, and it is possible that because the road northeast to Veles by way of the Babuna Pass is better than the road to Krivolak, the bulk of the enemy supplies are being transported by wagon over 60 miles. The Bulgar positions on the ridges south of Prilep may be found untenable soon because of the scarcity of supplies. While the Macedonian operations are taking a turn distinctively favorable to the Allied cause, Romania is under the German Harro. Berlin officially announces that von Mackensen's army of the Dobruja has crossed the Danube at several places. One of them, it would appear, from Romanian reports, is Zimnica, to the north of the Bulgarian town of Sistova. On the north bank of the Danube, from a point a short distance below Shetova to the delta, there are great marshes wherein no military operations are possible. When the Romanians destroyed the huge Chernovoda Bridge, one of the finest engineering triumphs of Eastern Europe, they destroyed with it all chance of a German crossing of the river along the line of railway from Constanza to Bucharest. Defeated in this project, Mackensen evidently decided to hold his Dobruja lines defensively with a part of his army and detach the remainder of his troops to points up the Danube where the marshes were not so formidable an obstacle to a crossing. At Zemnica, he is well to the rear of the Romanian line of defense on the lower Alt River, and unless dislodged, will force the abandonment of that line and the taking up of another much nearer Bucharest. The Germans announced the recapture of Orsova near the iron gates of the Danube taken by the Romanians on the outbreak of hostilities, and of Turnu Severin, an important Romanian river port on the Danube. The Romanian battalion cut off at Orsova, German reports say, constituted a comparatively small force. Their surrender has not been announced, and it is entirely possible that this body of Romanians has retired into the mountains instead of grounding arms. The latest Bucharest dispatch speaks of small Romanian detachments attacking the enemy northeast of Tournou-Severin, dispersing them and capturing 3 guns. Resistance in Western Wallachia is, therefore, not entirely ended, even though the Romanians there are no longer in touch by rail with the main armies east of the Alt. From Petrograd and from Bucharest come dispatches telling of an advance in the Dobruja and the recapture of a number of villages north of Constanza from Mackinson's forces. This advance may enable the Romanians to regain Constanza and Chernovoda, which, despite the destruction of the bridge, would be of great value in maintaining easy access to Romania from the Black Sea ports of Russia. Compared with the rapidly changing and dramatic situation in Romania, operations on the Western Front are quiet and uninteresting. Paris tells of several aeroplane engagements, while Berlin correspondents express the belief that the Allies are girding themselves for renewal exertions either on the Somme or elsewhere. One does not need to be the 7th son of a 7th son to make that kind of prophecy. The British Night Report speaks of enemy artillery activity on the Ancre, near Beaucourt and in the neighborhood of Les Boeufs. To the north, near La Bassée, also there has been German artillery activity. There's been much successful work by British aircraft. 5 enemy airplanes were destroyed and 3 British machines are missing as a result of aerial encounters. Hold on. The German advance across Western Wallachia towards Bucharest proceeds without halt. Official dispatches from Berlin announced that the forces of von Falkenhayn's based upon Craiova and the army of von Mackensen, which crossed the Danube 3 days ago at Zemnica, have made a junction near the town of Alexandria. The roads leading eastward from the Alt River are reported to be encumbered with the Romanian supply columns, whose retreat is marked by burning villages. This destruction of the homes and stores of grain possessed by the people of Western Wallachia indicates clearly that the Romanian higher command has at the present time no hope of expelling the invaders from that part of the country now occupied, and that retirement to the east of Bucharest is not at all improbable. The Germans are now about 47 miles from the capital, which is threatened from the west, north, and south. Speaking to a group of neutral correspondents on Saturday, von Falkenhayn is reported to have said that Bucharest will be an uncomfortable place for anyone to be in when the Germans get their guns trained on it. This seems to indicate that the idea of revenge, which was at the bottom of the great offensive against Romania, has not been abandoned, and that the Paris of the Balkans will be destroyed if resistance is offered when the Germans get within striking distance of it. I don't know if that's really what they used to call it, or if he's just throwing this in because of the war. Official dispatches from Bucharest, while they do not specifically confirm the German statements as to their advance, admit withdrawal before the German forces, which crossed the Danube at Zemnica to a point a short distance south of Alexandria. On the Moldavian frontier and in the Prahova Valley north of Bucharest, as well as the Kimpulun front, the Romanians are holding fast to their positions despite energetic enemy attacks. The unexpected crossing of the Danube by von Mackensen seems to have been the element in the situation that turned the tide against the Romanian defense. The Russian advance in the Dobruja, from which important results were expected, appears to have been held up. The only reference to operations in that sphere is the statement from Bucharest that the artillery of the Russo-Romanian army bombarded enemy positions. I'm just going to say this. How much time have we been spending on Romania right now? It's amazing. That the Allies are doing everything possible to lessen the pressure upon Romania is undoubted. One of the steps taken is the dispatch of a large number of British airplanes. By the way, there's a few Canadian pilots with them, and air pilots to Bucharest. It is announced that they have reached Bucharest after long flights and will reinforce the British and French airmen already operating with the Romanian army. A considerable force of Russian troops also is known to have taken over a part of the defensive front in the Valley of the Alt. A Petrograd report states that this force will, at the right moment, launch a strong offensive. The situation in Greece is such that any untoward event might result in the occupation of the capital by the Allied forces and an uprising of the royalist troops against them. The Allied demand that Greece surrender a considerable part of the war material now held in her arsenals has brought matters to an issue. The Royalists declare that they will not surrender the batteries of artillery and other munitions demanded by the Allied troops. It is also asserted that arms have been freely distributed in Athens, that a league of resistance has been formed, that many officers have already adhered to it, and that the reservists who stand for the king propose to proceed to the interior beyond the reach of the naval guns of France and Britain and start their guerrilla warfare, which they will maintain until the anticipated arrival of the Germans after the conquest of Romania. This program, if carried out, unquestionably means civil war in Greece. The declaration by Venizelos of war upon Bulgaria and Germany indicates that the Cretan statesman has no intention of turning back from the work he has set out to do, and that the Allies propose, by force, if necessary, to secure from the arsenals of Greece the weapons and the munitions required to enable them to prosecute active operations on the Macedonian frontier. The requisition of the Allies that has been objected to calls for 10 batteries of mounted guns, and the time limit for compliance has been set for December 1st. If the guns are not surrendered by that time, they will be taken by force. On the Macedonian front, there has been no movements of importance since Friday, when the Bulgars made an unsuccessful attack on heights occupied by the Serbs 18 miles east of Monastir. On the Somme, the weather continues stormy and unfavorable for the active operations. The German artillery, nevertheless, has been active in the region of the Ancre and south of La Bassée Canal. The British artillery has been bombarding the German lines to the west of Bapaume, and an explosion which occurred east of Serres is believed to have resulted from this activity. South of Arras on Saturday, gas was discharged successfully by the British. There was increasing signs of a possible drive from the west of Arras. I don't know if it's Arras, I'm gonna have to check that out, toward the British lines on the Ancre at some point in the salient, which is formed by that river and the line running from Gaumecourt towards Arras. I'm going to go with that for now. There's a very large German force in the salient, which might well be cut off by a determined drive toward Bapaume from the northeast. Serres, Puiseux, upon which artillery has been directed for several days, and Gaumecourt will probably be among the points attacked in the next general advance of Sir Douglas Haig's army. The midnight Paris report tells of considerable artillery activity south of the Somme on the Ablaincourt front, and of an attempt to attack in the Champagne on the part of the Germans, who were driven back by the French barrage fire. All eyes are still on Romania. Hold on, I gotta grab a sip. The armies of Falkenhayn and Mackensen, having turned the Romanian positions on the Alt and the Vide, are now rounding up the detached Romanian forces that were unable to retire to the east before the German trap was sprung. Up to the present, the number of prisoners captured since the armies of Mackensen and Falkenhayn joined the hands north of Alexandria is only 1,600, but the booty has been very great. At Craiova, Berlin dispatches say oil, benzene, and rubber were obtained in quantities that exceeded expectations. On the Danube, also, military stores of great value were secured through the capture of a large number of tugs and other vessels dispatched from Orsova prior to its evacuation. Nothing more has been heard of the main body of Romanians of the Orsova garrison, and it is possible that this force may yet break through the German lines and escape. The loss of war material is more serious than any loss of men sustained by Romania up to the present time. Her total losses in killed, wounded, and captured are probably not more than 50 or 60,000. For on the Moldavian frontier and in the Dobruja, Russia has borne no insignificant part of the burden of defense. Romania, in a crisis such as this, can put at least 600,000 men in the field, could she arm and equip them and provide them with ample supplies of artillery and rifle ammunition. There is little doubt that Romania's great trouble is a shortage of projectiles and perhaps also of all artillery of a caliber larger than of field guns. The Germans are winning by superior strategy and by the use of long-range guns rather than by superior numbers. Well, that's pretty damn good then. It is possible that under the existing conditions, the Romanians and their French and Russian military advisors will decide not to stand siege in Bucharest, but to evacuate it and retire with a relatively intact army to the east, taking up positions on the Moldavian frontier. This concentration would probably save almost half of Romania from being overrun, although it would involve the evacuation of some of the most valuable territory of the Prahova and Dâmbovița oil fields. Ooh. Up to the present time, the splendidly tenacious defense of the Romanians in the Prahova Valley, north of Bucharest, has prevented the enemy from securing any oil-bearing land of importance. The latest report issued last night states that the whole Alt River line is in our hands. This means that Slatina, an important town on the east bank of the Alt towards which the Romanians were rallying, has been evacuated. I don't know if you were Romanian, but right now I'd be wrecking a ton of oil fields. I'll tell you that much. The Serbs, assisted by French Zouaves, have captured Hill 1050, a position of great strategic importance on the front northeast of Monastir. The position was not one without hard fighting, for it was defended by picked German troops who had orders to hold it at all costs. Several enemy attacks with the object of regaining the hill without consideration for the losses involved were repulsed, and Hill 1050 remains definitely in possession of the Allies. The struggle may be what is referred to in an earlier German report, which states that on the Monastir Plain and mountains in the Cerna Bend, the forces of the Allies suffered a severe defeat by the failure of a great attack along the front of 17 miles from Tronova to Makovo. French reports announced the repulse with sanguinary losses of a Bulgar counterattack in the same region and tell of an Italian advance to the northwest of Monastir. It is evident from these reports that the Allied offensive in Macedonia is being pressed all along the front from the Vardar to the Albanian frontier. The news from the Western Front is of the most fragmentary sort. Paris reported last night that there had been no event of importance throughout the day. The Belgians, who have been re-equipped with heavy artillery, are using it freely to smash the enemy positions along the Yasser in the direction of Beausegnier and Steenstraat. The Germans suspect that the British artillery activity along the Amartière-Arras sector is either a preliminary to attack or a diversion to assist an offensive at some other point. The French, too, have, it is said, displayed similar activity in the Saint-Mihiel region southeast of Verdun. The period of comparative inaction of the British and French infantry on the Western Front will not long continue if weather conditions become favorable. Italy reports torrential rains in the Trentino, which have hampered operations. In the front, towards Trieste, the Austrians have brought new batteries into actions east of Gorizia, to which the Italian guns have replied with effect. There is still no word indicating renewed activity on the part of General Brusilov on the other Russian commanders. The impression grows that munitions are again scarce, doubtless because all the guns and projectiles that can be spared have been dispatched to the Romanian front. The British Night Official Report tells of the dispersal of German infantry by British artillery in the region of Puizu, north of the Ancre, on the bombardment of the enemy lines in the Ypres district. British aviators are cooperating with the gunners. Hold on. Coffee, I bloody love you. I can tell you that much. Zeppelins raided Britain after an interval of 2 months. 2 of the huge aircraft were brought down, one falling into the sea off the coast of Durham after being bombarded by a single British airplane. That must have been a sight. This makes a total of 7 Zeppelins destroyed in England or on the adjacent waters during the present year. The Zeppelins dropped 100 bombs and accounted for 17 casualties. 1 woman died of shock and 16 persons were injured, including 7 women and 4 children. The material damage to property was comparatively slight. The loss of the crews of the 2 Zeppelins, numbering over 50 men, makes the raiding of England a highly dangerous adventure for those who navigate the clouds in airships. From a military point of view, German frightfulness of this character does not pay for the fuel oil consumed. The British aviators who brought down the enemy airships received an ovation from the thousands who lined the coast to watch the battle in the clouds. Holy shoot, that must have been awesome. Unable to reach London with Zeppelins, the enemy are now trying solitary airplane raids. A German aviator flying high above the fog of November in London yesterday dropped several bombs upon the city in the course of his flight and injured 4 persons. There is no pretense that any military purpose is served by raids of this nature, which have no other object than to inspire terror and which actually harden the determination of the people of the British Isles to see this thing through, so that such barbarism will be exceedingly unpopular so long as the history of the Great War is read. Wow. Another German naval raid on the east coast of England of Lowestoft took place on Sunday last. The British armed trawler Narval, which was on duty at the time, is reported missing by the Admiralty. A German official account of the raid says a British patrol boat and crew were captured. This is the 2nd German naval raid in the last week. Ramsgate, 75 miles southwest of Lowestoft, was bombarded 3 days previously. The menace to Bucharest is still the big news of the war. Although the danger to the Romanian capital has not been averted, there is nothing official to indicate that the situation is more serious. There is a lull in the advance from the west, apparently to enable the Germans to bring up their heavy guns. Meanwhile, the Bulgars have crossed the Danube at 3 additional places and fortified their new lines on the Romanian soil. Fighting in the Dobruja region grows in intensity. Holy Jesus. In the Riga region, 2 companies of the Germans attacked the Russian advanced posts, but were driven off. South of Riga, the enemy employed gas, but the deadly vapors were dissipated ere they reached the Russian trenches. The Germans also bombarded the Russians with asphyxiating bombs. Fighting in the Caucasus continues. I think that's the first time I've ever heard about asphyxiating bombs. Cool. Well, you know what I mean. Fighting in the Caucasus continues. A Petrograd official report admits the occupation by the enemy of Adramed and Kosh-Ogli, 10 miles south of Van. Berlin reports that the Russians made several attacks and that engagements are proceeding. Flying the stars and stripes at her masthead, the Chemnung went down after being torpedoed by a German submarine. The crew were landed at Valencia by a Spanish steamer. The captain of the Chemnung, it is stated, refused to lower his flag. The submarine towed the crew to within 5 miles of the coast and then abandoned them. Practically all the crew, comprising 35 men, are American citizens. Several steamers, 1 British and 1 neutral, also fell victims to the submarine pirates. The Serbs advanced several hundred yards at various points on the Macedonian front, according to an official communication from Salonika. While German official reports state that in the fighting northwest of Monastir, the attacks of the Allies failed, the Serbs, supported by the French Zouaves, gotta find out if that's how you pronounce it. I don't even know who the hell they are. I would assume from somewhere from Africa, are not only holding on to their important strategic gains, but are consolidating and extending their newly acquired positions on Hill 1050. The artillery actions that have been in progress along the west from Armentières to La Bassée increase in violence and seem to point to an important movement there. General Haig's midnight report again tells of heavy German shelling as well as of British activity. Along the Canadian front, things are comparatively quiet, save for the ubiquitous German snipers and trench mortars. It is bitterly cold in the trenches, which in some places are only 30 yards distant from the enemy. Holy F. The Romanians have evidently decided to not to defend Bucharest. I'm glad I saw that word. It was a beautiful city. or it is a beautiful city. Oh my gosh, sorry. Of time modern buildings that would be smashed like eggshells by the German heavy guns. I guess that would be, yeah, it would have been a beautiful city if that would have been the case then. It is of little military importance. Bucharest is defended by a ring of forts such as those which proved so poor a bulwark for Liège that Antwerp and other fortified cities in Western Europe. The Romanian army is not likely to take up a position within the fortifications where it could be trapped and destroyed by long-range artillery fire or forced to capitulate. The field army will, therefore, fall back to a line running across the country from the Transylvanian Alps to the Danube in a general direction from northwest to southeast of the capital. That retirement is now in progress, and though Berlin speaks of it as disorderly, there is no news indicating that any large part of the Romanian army has been left behind in the retreat. So long as the army retired with unbroken spirit, there is nothing irreparable in the reverse suffered by Romania. The Russian counterattack, by which it is hoped to relieve the pressure on the Romanians, develops favorably. From the Bukovina sector immediately north of the Romanian frontier, Petrograd official dispatches show that Brusilov's armies are trying to break through the Carpathians in the region of the Curly-Baba Pass. A ridge east of Curly-Baba itself has been captured by the Russians, and 11 officers and 700 men have been captured. Farther north of heights have been taken, together with an unspecified number of prisoners. A vigorous Russian thrust in this region would not only prevent a German invasion of Moldavia, but might force the enemy to relinquish part of his gains in Wallachia and return to Transylvania to defend it. Hold on, I'm going to do another sip. Yeah, and it's starting to turn into iced coffee, which I do not like. Ugh. Anyways, and northern Hungary from the Slavs. The development of Brusilov's drive in the Carpathians will be followed with anxious interest by those who still hope that Bucharest may be retained as a result of vigorous action by Russia. I'll say this. I haven't had this much fun doing the war summary in ages. It's like pulling teeth. So I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm just going to enjoy it. General Three in Macedonia is doing all that mortal man can do to keep the Bulgars busy. A dispatch from Sofia says that the fighting on the Monastir and Vardar fronts on Tuesday was the most violent that has yet occurred in the Macedonian operations, and the attacks of the Allies were singularly halted. On the sector east of Monastir, it is asserted, 300 bodies were counted in front of a single Bulgar battalion. In the Vardar Valley, near Lake Doron, the Allies were, it is asserted, repulsed, leaving a great number of dead on the field and losing 6 machine guns. On the sector of the Struma, still farther east, 125 bodies of Allied soldiers, presumably British, were counted. French official statements on the fighting in Macedonia do not convey the impression that it was of the desperate nature indicated by Bulgar reports, and do most emphatically claim that both northwest and northeast of Monastir, the French and Serbs gained heights which were held against repeated counterattacks, while in the Vardar Valley, British troops were successful in a surprise attack on the Bulgar trenches. The reports, taken as a whole, prove that General Three is forcing the fighting and preventing the Bulgars from detaching any men from the Macedonian front to make up for Bulgaria's wastage in the Danubian campaign. We're getting at the end here. The British report issued last night tells of the bombardment of the enemy lines north of Armentières, where British artillery has been active for the greater part of the week. German raids in the New Chapelle region and 2 British raids east of Ypres are reported. In the latter, 21 prisoners were taken. These operations appear to indicate a new offensive soon somewhere to the west or southwest of Lille. There was no infantry activity on the French front, save when a small German attack in the region west of Verdun was repulsed. German guns are still cannonading Douaumont and Vaux. And here it is, last paragraph. That's a biggie. The changes in the direction and higher commands of the British Navy announced by Mr. Balfour have been made to increase efficiency at Whitehall rather than in the fleet. Mr. Balfour, the First Lord of the Admiralty, is a philosopher and the retiring First Sea Lord, Admiral Jackson, is a strategist. A First Sea Lord with fighting instincts, such as Jellicoe undoubtedly has, may stir up the Navy and result in more aggressive measures afloat and ashore. There's been dissatisfaction as to the Admiralty's methods of meeting Germany's renewed campaign of piracy at sea and the recent raids on the British coast by destroyer flotillas. One of Jellicoe's first duties will be to plan serious operations on the Belgian coast with the object of rendering Zeebrugge a very unsafe place as a rendezvous for German submarines and destroyers. The harbor there has been bombed again by a British seaplane squadron, but fog prevented the aviators from learning the result of their labors. The belief is generally entertained on the east coast of England that were Zeebrugge put out of business, much of the German activity in the southern areas of the North Sea would at once cease. And that's it. I hope that went well, and I hope to see you guys next week. See you later. Bye.